In a previous episode, we began our journey to Fort Lauderdale, leaving our home port in Key West, spending a night at Anchor and Marathon, and then arriving in Key Largo on our second day. Now it was time to complete our 4-day passage with the third leg of our trip taking us from Key Largo into beautiful Biscayne Bay, where we would anchor for the night at Sands Key. Our day began by carefully charting our course as our navigation equipment had failed soon after leaving Key West. The plan was to follow Hawk Channel and cut through the Keys at Angelfish Creek. Once through the cut, we would sail north into the calm waters of Biscayne Bay. After 2 days of motoring, due to the wind being on our nose, we were anxious to raise the sails, so we pulled up anchor and anticipated another full day on the water. After an uneventful but gorgeous sail, we dropped the hook on the lee side of Sands Key and settled in for our last night at anchor.
Coast Guard Sector Key West, Florida, United States Coast Guard Sector Key West, Florida, United States Coast Guard Sector Key West, Florida, for marine information broadcast on a gunnery exercise shift and listen channel C2 Alpha, frequency 157.1 megahertz, out.
We woke the next morning excited to get our first passage under our belt. The last leg of our journey would take us from our Sands Key anchorage into Port Everglades at Fort Lauderdale. We were fortunate to have another day of beautiful weather, and to top it off, sailing conditions were improving. With the winds blowing 15 knots across our beam, we raised the mainsail but decided to take in a reef as the forecast called for gusty winds later that afternoon.
We did it! How does it feel? It feels awesome. It was so good. Larry's an awesome teacher, seriously.
After tightening and securing the reefing clue line, the sails were full and we were sailing, at times skimming across the water at 8.5 knots. As we made our way up the coast, we took advantage of the superb sailing weather and gave everyone a watch at the helm. As it turned out, it was Autumn who ended up being the best sailor on this day, as she maintained speed and course better than the rest of us. The winds began to shift more aft as the day progressed, so we used the opportunity to practice jibing, a skill we knew we would be using a lot in the months to come. We made our way through Biscayne Bay and entered the iconic Stiltsville. Stiltsville used to be a community of over 25 houses built on pilings over the water about 1 mile off the Florida coast near Miami. With any hope of building new structures ending due to regulations passed in 1965 and additional restrictions added in 1976, hurricanes and even a fire have whittled the population of Stiltsville down to just 7. The buildings are now owned by the National Park Service, and an effort is underway to rehabilitate the remaining structures.
We're outside of Miami right now and we just hit some rough waves. So we're trying to make lunch and steer, and the dinghy keeps getting hit by big waves. but it's fun, in a way.
It's fun because Larry's here.
Having left the protection of Biscayne Bay, the open waters of the Atlantic put our sea legs to the test. Fortunately, our destination quickly came into sight, and we dropped the sails. After 4 days on the water, we had completed our very first passage.
Wow, that is a small channel for a very big boat, and that was disconcerting, but pretty cool.
As we motored down the Intracoastal, we were reminded just how far we had come in 3 short months. We still had a lot to learn, but this trip gave us a great deal of confidence that we could sail and navigate our way to our next destination in the Bahamas. Thanks for watching, and if you're feeling kind, give us a thumbs up below. Also, we would just like to give a shout out to our patrons for all their support.